Welcome to my channel. If you love old coins, rare coins, and coins that could be worth real money, then you are in the right place. Today, we are exploring 3 famous American 1-cent coins that every collector should know about. Make sure to watch till the end, because one of these pennies has a very special history. Let's start with the 1944 1-cent coin. The 1944 1-cent coin, officially known as the Lincoln wheat cent, is one of the most historically meaningful and widely discussed coins in United States numismatics because it was produced during the final phase of World War II and reflects the economic, industrial, and material challenges faced by the nation at that time. This coin belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, making it the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical person rather than a symbolic figure. By 1944, the Lincoln cent design was already well established and familiar to the American public, serving not only as everyday money, but also as a subtle reminder of national identity and continuity during a period of global conflict. The obverse of the 1944 1-cent coin features a right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Brenner's design is widely praised for its realism and dignity, capturing Lincoln's thoughtful expression and strong profile. The word liberty appears to the left of Lincoln's portrait, while the date 1944 is positioned to the right. Above Lincoln's head is the national motto, "In God We Trust," which had become a standard feature on U.S. coinage. Depending on the mint where the coin was struck, a small mint mark may appear below the date. Coins minted in Philadelphia bear no mint mark. Those from Denver display a D, and those from San Francisco carry an S. These small letters are of great importance to collectors, as they help identify where the coin was produced and can significantly influence rarity and value. The reverse of the 1944 1-cent coin features the classic wheat ears design, which give the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. 2 stylized wheat stalks curve inward from the left and right edges, symbolizing agricultural prosperity and abundance. Between the wheat ears appear the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, while the motto E pluribus unum is displayed along the top rim. This reverse design remained in use from 1909 until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. By 1944, the wheat reverse had become deeply associated with American coinage and everyday commerce, making the coin instantly recognizable to people of all ages and backgrounds. One of the most important aspects of the 1944 1-cent coin is its composition. Unlike the 1943 Lincoln cents, which were struck in zinc-coated steel due to wartime copper shortages, the 1944 cents returned to a copper-based composition. However, this was not ordinary copper. The United States Mint used recycled copper obtained primarily from spent shell casings collected from military training grounds and firing ranges. The symbolic reuse of wartime materials transformed instruments of conflict into everyday objects of commerce, giving the 1944 cent a unique place in American history. The official composition of the 1944 cent is approximately 95% copper and 5% zinc, which give the coin its familiar reddish-brown color when new in various shades of brown or red-brown as it ages. The standard weight of the 1944 1-cent coin is about 3.11 grams, with a diameter of 19 millimeters and a plain edge. These specifications were consistent with other copper Lincoln cents of the era and ensured compatibility with vending machines, coin-operated devices, and everyday transactions. Despite being a low-denomination coin, the cent played an essential role in daily life, especially during wartime when rationing and price controls made even small amount of change important. The year 1944 itself was a pivotal moment in World War II. Allied forces had landed in Normandy on D-Day in June, and momentum was shifting toward the eventual defeat of the Axis powers. On the home front, American factories were operating at full capacity, producing weapons, vehicles, and supplies for the war effort. Civilians participated in scrap drives, rationing programs, and bond purchases, and coinage reflected these national priorities. The return to copper cents in 1944 was both practical and symbolic, signaling improved access to materials and reinforcing the connection between civilian life and military sacrifice. From a mintage perspective, The 1944 1-cent coin was produced in very large numbers, reflecting the high demand for small change during the war years. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion coins, making the 1944 cent one of the most heavily minted in the series. The Denver Mint produced several hundred million coins, while the San Francisco Mint struck fewer, but still substantial quantities. Because of these high mintages, most 1944 cents are relatively common today, especially in circulated condition. However, condition plays a crucial role in determining value, and coins that have survived in high grades are much scarcer than their raw mintage numbers might suggest. Collectors carefully examine the condition of a 1944 1-cent coin using standardized grading systems. Circulated examples often show wear on Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline, as well as softness in the wheat stalks on the reverse. Uncirculated coins retain sharp details, full luster, and minimal contact marks. Color is another critical factor, with coins categorized as red, red-brown, or brown depending on how much of the original copper luster remains. Fully red examples are especially desirable and command higher prices in the collector market. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1944 1-cent coin is the existence of rare era varieties. The most famous and valuable of these is the 1944 steel cent. Although steel planchets were officially discontinued after 1943, a very small number of leftover steel blanks were accidentally struck with 1944 dies. These coins appear silver gray in color and are strongly attracted to magnets, unlike normal copper cents. Authentic 1944 steel cents are extremely rare and can be worth tens of thousands of dollars or more, depending on condition and mint mark. Because of their high value, they are often counterfeited or altered, so expert authentication is essential. Another notable era variety is the 1944 double die cent, where parts of the design, such as a date or inscriptions, appear double due to a misalignment during the die-making process. These varieties are less famous in the steel cents but are still highly sought after by collectors. Additionally, off-center strikes, clip planchets, and other mint errors can add interest and value to individual coins, making the 1944 cent a numismatist. The market value of A. The legacy of the 1944 1-cent coin continues today through active collecting, research, and storytelling. Coin shows, online forums, and auctions frequently feature discussions and sales of 1944 cents, from common circulated examples to rare era pieces. Each coin carries its own journey, having passed through countless hands, pockets, and transactions over the decades. Next, let's move to the 1957 1-cent coin. The 1957 1-cent coin, commonly known as the Lincoln wheat cent, represents the final years of the famous wheat penny era and holds a special place in American numismatic history because it was minted during a period of post-World War II economic growth and social change in the United States. By 1957, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for nearly half a century, and its design was deeply familiar to the American public. This coin reflects stability, mass production, and everyday life in the 1950s, a time when the U.S. economy was expanding and small denomination coins were essential for daily transactions. The obverse of the 1957 1-cent coin features the iconic right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's image is dignified and realistic, emphasizing his strong profile and thoughtful expression. The word liberty appears to the left of the portrait, while the date, 1957, is positioned to the right. Above Lincoln's head is the motto, "In God We Trust," which by this time had become a permanent and expected element of U.S. coinage. Depending on the mint where the coin was struck, a mint mark may appear below the date. Coins minted in Philadelphia carry no mint mark. Denver coins display a D, and those produced in San Francisco bear an S. These mint marks are very important to collectors because they help identify the origin of the coin and influence its scarcity and desirability. The reverse of the 1957 1-cent coin displays the classic wheat ears design that had been used since 1909. Two curved wheat stalks frame the central inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, symbolizing agricultural strength and national prosperity. The motto, E Pluribus Unum, appears along the top edge of the reverse. By 1957, This design was nearing the end of its long run, as it would be replaced the following year, in 1959, by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse. As a result, the 1957 wheat cent is often viewed as part of the closing chapter of one of the most beloved designs in U.S. coin history. In terms of composition, the 1957 1-cent coin is made primarily of copper, consisting of approximately 95% copper and 5% zinc. This composition gives the coin its characteristic reddish color when freshly minted, which gradually darkens over time due to oxidation and handling. The coin has a standard weight of about 3.11 grams, a diameter of 19 millimeters, and a plain edge. These specifications were consistent across copper Lincoln cents of the era and ensured uniformity in circulation and compatibility with coin-operated machines. The year 1957 falls within a period of strong economic confidence in the United States. The nation was experiencing growth in manufacturing, suburban development, and consumer spending. Coin production during this time was focused on efficiency and meeting the demands of a growing population. The U.S. Mint produced very large quantities of 1-cent coins in 1957 to support everyday commerce, making the coin widely available and commonly encountered even decades later. Mintage figures for the 1957 1-cent coin are high, especially for Philadelphia and Denver issues. The Philadelphia Mint struck well over 1 billion coins, while the Denver Mint produced several hundred million. The San Francisco Mint also contributed a substantial number, though fewer than the other two mints. Because of these large production numbers, most 1957 cents are considered common in circulated condition. However, survival rates in high-grade condition are much lower, which adds a layer of challenge and interest for collectors seeking premium examples. Collectors evaluate the condition of 1957 1-cent coins using standard grading systems that consider wear, surface quality, luster, and strike. Circulated coins often show wear on Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline, as well as softness in the wheat ears on the reverse. Uncirculated coins retain sharp details and original mint luster, making them more desirable. Color designation is especially important for copper coins. Pieces are classified as red, red-brown, or brown, depending on how much original red luster remains. Fully red examples of the 1957 cent are significantly more valuable than those that have toned to brown. One of the most popular and valuable varieties of the 1957 1-cent coin is the double die obverse. On this variety, parts of the design, especially the date and inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust, appear visibly doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. The 1957 double die cent is highly sought after by collectors and can command strong prices, particularly in higher grades. There are also minor double dies and other die variations that attract specialized interest. In addition to double dies, other mint errors can be found on 1957 1-cent coins, including off-center strikes, clip planchets, and planchet flaws. While most of these errors are relatively minor, they add excitement and uniqueness to individual coins. Error collectors often search rolls of wheat cents hoping to discover such unusual pieces. The market value of a typical 1957 1-cent coin in circulated condition is generally modest, often ranging from a few cents to under $1. Uncirculated examples, especially those with strong luster and red color, can be worth several dollars or more. Coins that have been professionally graded and certified in high mint state grades can bring significantly higher prices at auction. The double die variety, depending on condition, can be worth from hundreds of thousands of dollars, making it one of the most famous and valuable Lincoln cent errors of the 1950s. Beyond its monetary value, the 1957 1-cent coin holds cultural and historical significance. It represents a time when coins were still made of solid copper and when the cent played a more meaningful role in everyday transactions. Many people remember using wheat pennies in their daily lives or finding them in pocket change, which gives the 1957 cent a strong sense of nostalgia. For collectors, it serves as a tangible connection to mid-20th century America. The surfaces of 1957 cents have aged in different ways depending on how they were stored and handled. Some coins exhibit smooth, even toning, while others show spotting, discoloration, or corrosion due to environmental exposure. Proper storage in coin holders or albums can help preserve condition and maintain value. Because copper is reactive, careful handling and controlled storage conditions are especially important. In educational and historical contexts, the 1957 1-cent coin is often used to illustrate the final phase of the wheat penny series and the evolution of U.S. coin design. It helps demonstrate how coinage reflects economic conditions, technological capabilities, and cultural values of its time. For new collectors, it offers an accessible entry point into numismatics, while for advanced collectors, it provides opportunities to pursue varieties, high grades, and complete sets. Within the broader Lincoln cent series, the 1957 issue stands as one of the last traditional wheat cents before a major design change. This gives it added significance, as it represents continuity just before transformation. The following year would mark the introduction of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, signaling a new era in U.S. coinage. Now, let's talk about the 1991 cent coin. The 1991 cent coin, officially known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent, is an important example of late 20th century United States coinage and reflects a time when a penny was still widely used in everyday transactions. By 1990, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for more than 80 years, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. history. This coin represents a modern era compared to the earlier wheat cents, yet still carries deep historical roots through its continued use of Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. The obverse of the 1991 cent coin features the familiar right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Although the design had been slightly modified over the decades, Brenner's original vision remained intact, showing Lincoln with a calm and thoughtful expression. The motto, "In God We Trust," appears above Lincoln's head. The word liberty is placed to the left, and the date 1990 appears to the right. Below the date, a mint mark may be present, indicating where the coin was struck. Coins minted in Philadelphia carry no mint mark. Those from Denver display a D. And San Francisco issues typically appear as proof coins with an S mint mark. These mint marks are essential for collectors, as they help identify different issues of the same year. The reverse of the 1991 cent coin features the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Frank Gasparo, the reverse depicts the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., with fine architectural details visible even at the small scale to send inside the central opening of the memorial. A tiny seated statue of Lincoln can be seen, making this one of the few U.S. coins to show the same person on both sides. The inscriptions United States of America and 1 cent appear around the memorial, with the motto E Pluribus Unum above it. This reverse design was used until 2008, making the 1990 cent part a long and familiar era of American coinage. In terms of composition, the 1991 cent coin is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. This composition was introduced in 1982 as a cost-saving measure due to rising copper prices. The coin consists of approximately 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, with the copper forming only a thin outer layer. Because of this, the 1990 cent has a lighter weight of about 2.5 grams, compared to the heavier copper cents of earlier decades. The diameter remains 19 millimeters, and the coin has a plain edge. This change in composition marks a significant shift in U.S. coin production and is an important detail for collectors and historians. The year 1990 was a period of transition in the United States, both economically and politically. The Cold War was nearing its end, technology was advancing rapidly, and American society was entering a new decade with changing priorities. Coins like the 1991 cent were mass-produced to meet the needs of a large and active economy, and they circulated widely across the country. The penny was still commonly used for small purchases, change, and everyday transactions, making a familiar object in nearly every household. Mintage figures for the 1991 cent coin are extremely high, especially for the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Billions of coins were produced to keep up with demand, making the 1990 cent one of the most common modern pennies. San Francisco also produced proof versions intended for collectors rather than circulation. Because of these large miniatures, most 1990 cents are readily available today, especially in circulated condition. Collectors assess the condition of 1991 cent coins using standard grading criteria, focusing on wear, luster, surface quality, and strike. Since the coin is copper-plated zinc, it is more vulnerable to damage than older solid copper cents. Scratches, plating blisters, and corrosion can occur if the zinc core is exposed. Uncirculated examples retain their original shine and smooth surfaces, while circulated coins often show dullness and minor wear on Lincoln's portrait and the memorial details. Although the 1991 cent coin is generally common, there are varieties and errors that attract collector interest. These include double-die varieties, where parts of the design appear doubled, as well as off-center strikes, broad strikes, and plating errors. Some coins show bubbling or peeling of the copper plating, which is a known issue with zinc-based cents. While most of these errors are minor and have limited value, more dramatic examples can be worth a premium. In terms of value, a typical 1991 cent coin in circulated condition is usually worth only its face value. Uncirculated examples may be worth slightly more, especially if they have strong luster and no visible defects. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are more valuable and are often collected as part of complete proof sets. Error coins and high-grade certified examples can command higher prices, depending on rarity and demand. Beyond monetary considerations, the 1991 cent coin holds cultural significance as a symbol of everyday life at the end of the 20th century. Many people remember using these coins in vending machines, parking meters, and small cash transactions. For younger collectors, the 1990 cent may represent childhood memories of saving pennies in jars or coin folders, while for older collectors, it marks a later chapter in the long history of the Lincoln cent. The preservation of 1990 cents can be challenging due to their zinc core. Proper storage in a dry, stable environment is essential to prevent corrosion and deterioration. Collectors often use protective holders, albums, or rolls to keep coins in good condition. Unlike older copper cents, zinc cents are less forgiving of poor storage, which makes high-quality examples more desirable. In educational settings, the 1991 cent coin is useful for demonstrating modern coin production methods, cost-saving measures, and the evolution of coin composition. It highlights how economic factors influence currency design and materials. Comparing a 1990 cent with an earlier wheat cent clearly shows the differences in weight, color, and durability, helping students and collectors understand broader trends in numismatics. Within the Lincoln Cent series, the 1990 issue represents a mature stage of the Lincoln Memorial design, just a few years before major commemorative changes will begin in the 2000s. While it may not be rare or highly valuable in most cases, it remains an essential part of any complete Lincoln cent collection. The 1944 penny reflects America's wartime history. The 1957 penny represents the end of the wheat era, and the 1990 penny shows the modern evolution of U.S. coinage. Even small coins like pennies can carry big history and hidden value. If you enjoy coin collecting, rare money, and valuable coins, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment below which penny is your favorite. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next coin video.